Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. So I'm back for the final Roscoe's recap of this season, and this viewing party was for All Stars 9 episode 12, which was the finale. And the guests this week were Hannah, Conda and Queen Kong. Today we're going to be talking about why the winners of All Stars don't always come back to film their step down looks, whether eliminations are rigged on Drag Race so that other queens can come back, and allegations about an apparent lawsuit against World of Wonder by production staff due to alleged inappropriate behaviour from the queens on the set of All Stars 9. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. So they started off by talking about the moment in the episode when Jimbo, who was the winner of last All Stars season, was not there in person and was instead on a video call. Naysha said she loved the fact that Jimbo, quote, could not be bothered to come back because she was getting a paycheck elsewhere and it was, quote, so fierce. And Caramel pointed out that in the video message, Jimbo had said she loved seeing the queens all season, but this was recorded before the season even came out, so there's no way Jimbo would have seen any of the queens. And on this point of queens not coming back for their step down looks, I saw something interesting on social media this week, which was to do with Trinity and Monet not coming back for their step down on All Stars 5. On the podcast Sibling Rivalry, Trinity was the guest host, and Monet brought up that usually the winners come back for the next season of the All Stars for their step down looks, and she questioned why she and Trinity weren't there in person for the step down on All Stars 5. Trinity said, quote, "Do you want to know the tea, people? You want to know why?" Trinity then explained that she and Monet were in Australia touring at the time, and Drag Race contacted them very last minute to ask them to come back for the finale taping of All Stars 5. Trinity went on to say that she and Monet said that they were willing to cancel part of their tour dates so that they could fly back to do it, and they even spent thousands of dollars to get their step-down outfits made. But then Drag Race refused to pay for their flights from Australia to LA, and Trinity finished by saying, quote, "We were willing to move around our schedule for them, we were willing to do whatever we had to do, we were willing to lose money, we already paid for our looks, we were ready to go, so all we got was, after we came back, they made time for us to come into the WOW studio and record something on someone's phone that they used for the little message." And I just thought that this was an interesting insight into why some of the previous season winners don't come back for their step down looks in person, and that in this case, Drag Race were not willing to pay for their flights. Anyway, back to Roscoe's, and Naysha said she had a question for Hannah Conda, which was, why do you hate Scarlet Envy so much? And everyone laughed. This is because on UK vs the World Season 2, Hannah and Scarlet had a few tense moments where they seemed to not get along very well, and Scarlet was at Roscoe's a few weeks ago and alluded to the fact that she and Hannah didn't really get on during the filming, but they're okay now. Hannah explained that Drag Race is a crazy situation and some of the queens, quote, become different people, and that the Scarlet that Hannah met previously was a bit different to the version of Scarlet that was on the show. Then, when Hannah confronted Scarlet on the show and told her she was being too much, Hannah felt like that was done and they could just move on. But as it turned out, Scarlet, quote, harboured that, and Hannah had to live with Scarlet's eyes, quote, piercing into my soul during the reunion. And it was obvious that Scarlet was, quote, pressed and furious. Hannah then said that it took up until they did the tour in the UK that Scarlet said to Hannah that she was really nervous that Hannah was there because Scarlet felt like Hannah hated her. But Hannah said she doesn't hate Scarlet and they've now sorted it out and they're all good. And Hannah thought that they had sorted it back when they had filmed the season, and she had no idea that Scarlet had held onto these feelings for all that time. According to Hannah, Scarlet is a, quote, dream and a fabulous entertainer, and because Scarlet has had some experiences on previous seasons when she wasn't treated the best by other queens, she feels that that might be why Scarlet reacted the way that she did. Hannah finished by saying that Scarlet gets really competitive during Drag Race, but outside of that, she's nothing like that, and she's, quote, a good egg. Naysha also said that when Scarlet was at Roscoe's, she brought gifts for all of the queens, and she is, quote, the sweetest. Queen Kong then made the point that the sense of humour in Australia is very different to the sense of humour in the States, and in Australia they, quote, go for the throat, but it's just a joke, and sometimes the queens in other countries misinterpret that humour and think that they're being hateful, but it's just a cultural difference. They then watched the rest of the episode, including the runway, and they were discussing Plastique's looks throughout the season. Hannah said that she loved Plastique's looks and Plastique is just flawless. But Hannah said the only slight issue she has is that level of drag feels slightly unachievable for other queens. And it's nothing against Plastique because she's incredibly talented. But Hannah worries that other queens are now going to be held to the same standard as Plastique from now on, and that queens are going to get themselves into massive debt to try and pay to be at that level of drag. Hannah then shared that she went down to her last $1,000 earlier this year because she had to pay so much for all of her looks for UK versus the World, which is crap, and she said, "What other TV show do you have to pay to be on?" Naysha agreed and said that people need to understand that level of drag is, quote, unrealistic for most queens, and when you go and see a drag show, you're not going to see that level of drag. Because the outfits on Drag Race are for a TV show, and the queens this season got $75,000 to be on the show, and Plastique reportedly spent $250,000 in total to pay for her looks, so it's a completely different situation. They then talked about Chanel's finale look, and they all said it was a pretty outfit, but it didn't look like a finale look and it didn't represent Chanel's drag. Caramel reminded them that when Chanel was at Roscoe's a few weeks ago, she revealed that she put on weight during the filming of the show, and so her finale look didn't fit. So she ended up wearing her finale look for her promo instead. And the look that she wore for the finale was a different outfit that she brought with her. They then watched the judges' critiques, and Naysha asked if there was a specific critique that they agreed or disagreed with. Hannah said, quote, "Just Ross. Everything about him irritates the bleep out of me. I don't know what it is about him. It makes my skin crawl." And even if she agrees with him, she disagrees just because it's coming from him, and everyone laughed. Naysha agreed and said that what she thinks is that Ross's critiques are not genuine, and that he thinks about how the audience is going to receive what he says. And she joked and said, quote, "I hate it." Naysha then brought up that when the judges were talking about Plastique's looks, RuPaul said that that's what she expects from All Stars, which is exactly the point that they were making earlier, that now the queens are going to be expected to have that level of drag, which is not achievable for most queens. And Hannah said, quote, "You know what? We go back to them and say, we want the money so you can get that on your All Stars." And everyone clapped and cheered for Hannah. The episode ended, and Naysha then asked a VIP question, which was, in light of the lawsuit allegations, have you heard of or witnessed bad behind-the-scenes behaviour from any of the queens? Queen Kong didn't know what lawsuit they were talking about, but Hannah said she did, so she explained. There are allegations that on All Stars 9, some of the queens had to pee in plastic bottles because they weren't allowed to leave the main stage, and the production assistants had to clean up these bottles of pee. And there were also allegations that some of the queens did not treat the production staff very well. Hannah also mentioned that there may have been an allegation of intimate assault against one of the staff members by one of the queens. Just to explain in case you don't know, these allegations about the lawsuit against Drag Race to do with All Stars 9 were brought to light by Willem, who mentioned it several weeks ago on her Race Chaser podcast. On the podcast, Willem said that a trustworthy source told her that several World of Wonder employees were allegedly suing the production company because they had to dispose of urine-filled cans and bottles on the main stage, and that the queens mistreated the production staff not only on All Stars 9 but on previous seasons as well. However, in the podcast, Willem said that the person who texted this to Willem and Alaska is a reliable source, and said that they overheard this in a dressing room, and Alaska implied like it might not be 100% true, but Willem said she thinks it probably is true. Willem also added that apparently it was the girls who assigned to Voss events who were the problematic ones. And Alaska said she got the feeling even before she heard about that text, because she gets the impression that some of the queens are, quote, over it, and they see Drag Race as just another job, which, quote, takes the wind out of the sails of the show. Alaska also implied that she thinks that this might be why RuPaul decided that some queens were not going to win their lip syncs, and that's why Chanel won so much stuff, because she was apparently one of the queens that was not problematic. And as I said, this rumour is unsubstantiated as far as we know, but there has been a lot of online discussion with people saying that this might be why the outcome of All Stars 9 was different from what people thought. And also, if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that Willem got kicked out of DragCon this year, and Willem said she thinks part of the reason why she got kicked out may be because she had brought up the rumour of this lawsuit against World of Wonder. But as I said, as of now, I couldn't find any concrete evidence about this rumour, so we'll have to wait and see if any more information comes out about it. And then in terms of the allegations about intimate misconduct against some of the staff, I'm not sure which allegations specifically they were referring to at Roscoe's. However, on a different episode of Race Chaser, Willem said that apparently there were some queens who had been harassing the crew in an inappropriate way. The name of the queen was bleeped out, but Willem said she had spoken to 3 of the queens from the season, presumably All Stars 9, and they had all said it. Willem then said that when the season 16 queens came back to film their finale, that must have happened after the filming of All Stars 9. And so when the season 16 queens came back to film the finale, they all had to do a training seminar about intimate assault. And when they were asked why they had to do this seminar, they were told that there was a queen on All Stars 9 who had been getting, quote, handsy with some of the production staff and had said some inappropriate things. But Willem said, quote, it was probably just drag queens being drag queens, and queens often get naked on the show, but Drag Race maybe was just covering their backs by doing this seminar because otherwise they would be liable. And Willem also said that World of Wonder may have got mad that Willem brought up this lawsuit, and it may have sounded like Willem was implying that World of Wonder had done something wrong, but Willem said she can be fair and balanced, and she never said that World of Wonder did something wrong, she just said that there was pending litigation. And allegedly nothing has been filed yet, but there was a letter of demand. Willem also said that what she had talked about on a previous episode about being told that everyone on set were, quote, monsters except for 3 people, that may not be true, because Willem has since spoken to the one queen that apparently was described as being the worst monster, and that queen told Willem that one of the crew members said, quote, the worst thing possible to her on set, and there was a screaming match between them, and that person was, quote, put in their place. And that crew member is apparently involved in the lawsuit. Willem finished by saying that she had spoken to 3 of the queens who were on the set, so Willem isn't, quote, talking out of her ass, and this was not, quote, a titbit from Ahura. And this is referencing something that happened a while ago, that Willem had once said that she heard that Drag Race UK Season 3 had been filmed in just 10 days, but that turned out not to be true. And Willem later said that she had heard that from UK Season 2 contestant Ahura, and clearly it wasn't true. And after that, some people then said that Willem's information is unreliable. And Willem even addressed this, and said that a lot of people say that Willem lies all the time, and that you should take what she says with a pinch of salt, but Willem said, quote, I've been right a lot of times. But going back to Roscoe's, and they talked about these allegations of bottles of urine on stage that the crew had to clean up. And Naysha said there have been plenty of queens who have peed themselves on stage, such as Monet Exchange and Sasha Colby, who have both admitted openly that they peed themselves on stage during their seasons. Naysha said apparently there was even a time when potentially Monet or maybe Jada, she couldn't remember who, but they apparently peed themselves on stage in front of RuPaul, and RuPaul apparently just looked at the pee and then started clapping and said, quote, good job, and made a joke of it. Naysha went on to say that it's not okay for the queens to not be allowed to go to the bathroom, and in no other job would that be okay. and because the queens are on set and filming takes such a long time, they're not allowed to leave because time is money. So Naysha can see that there may be a possibility that a queen did pee in a bottle, although she doesn't know if it definitely happened or not. Batty then jokingly asked Naysha if she was ever rude to the production staff. Naysha said she stole stuff for them, such as makeup and makeup brushes, because they wanted some of the stuff from the set but they weren't allowed to take it, so Naysha did it for them. Hannah and Queen said on Drag Race Down Under they did the same thing and they gave some of the production staff their old costume bits and some quote care packages, and they really loved the staff so they could never imagine being rude or horrible to them. They also briefly talked about the allegations a bit later as well, and Hannah said at the moment this is all alleged and there have been many times in the past when queens' names have been dragged through the mud and it turned out not to be true. And Naysha agreed and said we'll have to wait for the details to come out, but when Naysha finds out the true tea, she'll have no problem spilling it. They then moved on to the Q&A, and a VIP member question for Queen and Hannah was, how did they feel on season 1 of Drag Race Down Under when they brought back Art Simone after her elimination and disregarded Coco and Jojo? Just to quickly explain, in case you don't know, on Drag Race Down Under Season 1, Art Simone, who is a very popular Australian drag queen, got eliminated in episode 2 after she lost the lip sync against Coco Jumbo. But Art was brought back to the competition in episode 4 and no reason was ever given. And if you're a long-time viewer of my channel, you may remember that I interviewed Coco Jumbo and she admitted that the production team lost the audio from their lip sync, so they made Coco and Art come back to refilm their lip sync and elimination multiple days after it happened. But it was never explained why Art was allowed to re-enter the competition, whereas Jojo and Coco, who were eliminated in episodes 1 and 3, were not invited to come back. Going back to Roscoe's, and when Hannah and Queen were asked how they felt about Art coming back, they said they were, quote, furious, peed, and it was stupid. Queen explained that she doesn't want to discredit Art because she's a great entertainer, and it's not fair that Art got discredited because of it. But Queen said it made no sense and she thinks that's why some people stopped watching Drag Race Down Under. Hannah also said she's not sure if this is true, but she knows Coco from before, and Coco apparently told Hannah that when she was leaving the hotel after her elimination, she crossed paths with Art in the hotel because Art was being brought back. Naysha then asked why they think Art was brought back. Hannah said she's not really sure, but it may be because Art is one of the most followed and well-known Australian queens. Queen Kong then said that as a queen of colour, it was frustrating for her that both Coco and Jojo, who are also queens of colour, both got eliminated before the conversation happened on the season about race and blackface. And that was a big part of the reason why Queen decided to apply to be on season 2, because she felt like it was important that a person of colour should be in the room when those types of conversations are happening. Naysha also said she thinks that because the final decision is RuPaul's to make, sometimes there might be some tension between what RuPaul wants and what the producers want. Naysha then shared that on season 8, when she got eliminated, RuPaul apparently walked off set and was gone for, quote, a hot minute. And they think that RuPaul was discussing with the producers what they should do, and RuPaul was apparently watching the lip sync back, and they were, quote, struggling with the decision. And so Naysha did get eliminated, but then the next episode, 2 people got eliminated and Naysha was later brought back. So Naysha thinks that maybe RuPaul just decided that she wanted to bring someone back and then just said to the producers, quote, figure out how to put it in the story. There was then a question about the final lip sync on UK vs The World Season 2 and what Hannah thought the outcome was going to be. Hannah said for the lip sync against Marina Summers, she thought that Marina was definitely going to win, so Hannah went into it thinking that she didn't have a chance. But Hannah said she has been performing that number with the sunglasses and the microphone for years, and she thinks that maybe it just worked with the vibe of the song better than Marina's performance. Hannah also implied that Marina may have not known all of the words to the song, but it wasn't shown on camera. And then for the final two lip sync between Hannah and Tia Kofi, Hannah genuinely thought it was going to be a tie and that it would make a nice storyline, but that's not what happened. And finally, someone asked Hannah when they film the confessionals on UK vs the World. Hannah said they film it at the start of each day before they film the bit where it's a new day in the workroom and you have to recap the day before. And then at the end of the season, each queen gets brought back and they have to recap their entire run on the show depending on how many episodes they were in, and that takes about 8 hours to film. Naysha said that that's interesting because on her seasons, they would film the confessionals every couple of days at the end of the day, and sometimes they would dedicate entire days at the end of the week to just filming the confessionals. And for example, if you got eliminated on a Tuesday, you'd have to stay until Friday because that's the day that you need to film all of your confessionals. So there you go, there was the final Roscoe's recap for All Stars 9. Do you think that All Stars 9 was better than previous seasons of All Stars? And what was the most memorable moment from this season? Let me know in the comments. And I'd just like to give a special shout out to my Patreon member Kerry, who upgraded to the You're a Winner Baby tier. Kerry, you are a winner baby. And if you'd like to get early access to my videos as well as have your comments featured in my Have Your Say videos, please check out my Patreon and consider supporting me. It goes such a long way to helping support my channel and I really appreciate it. And I'll put a link to my Patreon in the description. I'd also like to say a massive thank you to all of my Patreon members who are amazing and support me every month. Thank you so much for being part of my Patreon. I really appreciate it and I really do love my Patreon community. You are all legends. If you liked this video, please remember to like and comment on the video to help tell the algorithm that this is a great video, and make sure you hit the subscribe button because it really does make such a big difference to my channel. Thank you for watching and I hope you'll join me again in future videos. Thank you, bye!